Yo, welcome to episode 30 of Directly to You of Redirect Podcast. I am AJ of Redirect, and this week Dan Seibert is back for his regularly scheduled DTY appearance to talk about a variety of Switch 2 news and updates, including the current dip in the console market, the future of the Zelda franchise, more third-party updates, and much, much more. On to the episode. So much news. There's not really a connecting factor other than the fact that it's like a series of bad news and then some pretty good news. So
it's just an assortment of news. It's like a buffet. Just take whatever you want.
A large buffet. Because usually that's the thing. Usually there's like a big news thing, and it's something that just happened. Like a new game came out, but none of that is big enough this week for it to be pinned around the thing. But there is a through line in the sense that it's games. It's games. There's a lot of games. Also console sales, at least in Western country, they're not even Western country. That's not even really a good way to phrase it. In America and the UK, console sales are down. And that is largely because Xbox and PlayStation console sales are down. And the Nintendo Switch 2 is not selling enough to make up for the gap. And it's also not at least in the last month in November, it's not selling enough to meet what past Novembers have done in the UK and in the US. Like Black Friday was terrible for everybody but PlayStation, but kinda it was bad for them too, because the only reason why PlayStation did as well as they did is because they're the only console that had a deal during Black Friday. Console sales are not in a good place right now for obvious reasons.
No. Yeah. Too damn expensive.
Yeah, too expensive. That's one thing that is of note from Sarcana. They said that the average cost of console, like the consoles that were sold, went up. I think it was like 11% or something like that.
It's tough because it's all of the parts are getting more expensive, and a lot of that is AI data centers buying everything up.
Yeah.
So we're kind of just left here going like, well, we'll take the scraps, I guess, and if we want a console, we're paying $600+
if not more. It's like,
it's not more.
Like the PlayStation 5 is 7 something. Like if you're a PC gamer, you're cooked. Right now, you're cooked. And the console sales, like the consoles are going to catch up, but I think that the gap is going to increase. Like even now, right? Like the thing that a lot of people hang their hat on is it's like, well, in the long run, it's cheaper, but it's like so much more expensive to buy all the parts individually that it's just not, like in the short term, it's not worth thinking about how much you're going to save on Steam sales after 5 years of owning the PC or whatever, right?
The only benefit you get, and this is the one thing why I worry about consoles, is that at least when you buy a PC, you can do other stuff on it.
Yeah.
And I can't buy a Nintendo Switch and edit a video on it.
That is true.
It's just not possible. And that's the hardest part about all of this.
I think a lot of times the thing about like that is the price is reasonable with that consideration, right? But if you look at now, like with the price of Nintendo Switch 2 being $450, if we don't we discount the bundle, because spoilers for later, they're getting rid of the Mario Kart bundle. $450 is an easy pill to swallow. Like it's more expensive for consoles in general, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility for somebody to spend their money on, even if it's something that, as they see it, is essentially just a console for their kid. Like iPads are more expensive than that. And
it's the easiest pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's an easy pill at all. But
I say it's easy because it's relatively easy. Like
relatively, yeah. In the grand scheme, yeah.
Yes. Like the thing that makes it harder is that in the past the consoles were even cheaper, but now it's still the cheapest option. It's just not as cheap as it used to be because everything is more expensive. And I say all that to say, the gap used to be smaller. It's like, okay, you can get like a decent PC that's going to last you a minute for like what, $1,200-$1,500 all told. Like if you don't have a monitor or nothing like that, you could spend like $1,200-$1,500. Is that?
Yeah.
That sounds right. Now that's not, you're not getting that. You probably won't even get RAM and a GPU for $1,200 right now.
Oh yeah. No, there's just no way at this point in time. Like there are some still like Costco has some decent deals on PCs, but everything at this point in time, if you wanted to play anything, you're sitting at a minimum $1,000 for a PC. And that's a good deal. Like if you find something for $1,000 for some reason, that's a good deal.
You got some loyalty points or something.
Yeah.
And consoles are going to go up. The thing is, like, I just don't know how high it's going to go. Like, I know it could go to the moon in terms of PC. Like, I could see that be like the average price going up upwards of 2,000 for a decent PC. I could see that. I can't see Nintendo going higher than 600. And that's like doomsday scenario. And also it's because they have the power to do that. Like in the sense that like they can guarantee larger quantities to these manufacturers so they can reserve more stock. Like that's why we're having the shortages, because these manufacturers are reserving large quantities for AI and all this other nonsense, right?
Yeah.
They don't have as big of a sword, but they have a big enough one to be like, all right, like we're going to sell 10 million of these this year. So we're going to buy it at a lower price. It's going to be higher than it would have been otherwise, but it's going to be lower than what consumers can pay to get RAM for themselves, or a PC or a CPU or a GPU or whatever. And pre-builts are similar, but they're not able to reserve the same level of quantity because of the fragmentation. It's like if it was just Dell or whatever, they can be like, all right, we're probably going to sell 20 million PCs this year, but there's like what 15 plus manufacturers that are all being like, I'm going to sell 200,000, I'm selling 5 million, so it's like,
yeah, it's really, it's so tough. And we were wondering how high of a price would it be before gamers stop buying stuff. And I think we're finally
getting there.
We're getting there. We're seeing the first signs of like, hey, turns out $600-$700 for a machine to play games, that ain't it.
Yeah, it's a bridge too far. Which, I mean, fair. And it's like, especially for like the other two, right? If I wish that like at least one of them, either PlayStation or Xbox, was still, PlayStation is probably the easier one to wish this for, because Xbox never really was like batting 1,000 in this regard. But either one of them were still offering like a consistent stream of games that are like, this is why you own this and this alone. Because then I think it would be easier to see how much people are actually willing to buy and not willing to buy. Because I think we see a big uptick, especially like in other regions, whenever a big exclusive comes out for Nintendo. Like I anecdotally, I see that because I keep closer track to that. I see when they drop Kirby, it goes up 50% or whatever. And they drop Donkey Kong, it goes up again. You know what I mean? But PlayStation and Xbox don't really have that. And even for the consumers that like Madden is their PlayStation game, you could play Madden on the console before that. So if you have a PlayStation 4 and all you care about is playing Madden, you're not going to buy a PlayStation 5 to play Madden.
No, there's no reason to. And I think it's one of the reasons why I'm not really worried about Nintendo raising their prices so much, because their IP is so strong and they make so much money off their big IP releases that they could take the hit to earn it back later in software. PlayStation started putting their stuff on Steam now, which just kind of like diluted the value of having a PS5. Like if you could play God of War on Steam and you have a computer that's capable of doing it, you're not going to go buy one.
Right.
It's such a, we live in such a weird time is ultimately what it is.
Yeah.
We're gonna like, something is going to like, I think 2026 we're gonna see some sort of fundamental shift. We might already be seeing it already, but like there's gonna be some shift with how much all of these computer parts are starting to cost. And you know, the AI bubbles brought up a lot, but like it inches closer and closer every day from bursting. So it's just kind of like, what's going to happen?
But the question is it inching closer to bursting? Do we know that? It feels hopeful to say that it's close. But
I mean, and I think that's really it. That's the thing I'm holding on to. I hope that like we keep hearing it. I'm like, great. When and can it happen now?
Because like, I don't know, like these companies, it feels like, well, they are. It's not even just that. They are operating on copium and speculative value, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're still making more money than they've ever made. So it's not like they're feeling it, right? Like we can say like, oh, AI is not worth it, and like, why are you investing this much money in AI when like their bottom line doesn't reflect that, and like obviously it's not a direct result of the AI. But they're able to endlessly dump money into this speculative market because they're making more than they ever have before due to other factors. Like our best case scenario is that their other things fail enough for them to not have the money to dump into the speculative market. But you know, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be public sentiment, and it's going to be like, if the cost of a computer gets so high that no one can buy new hardware, then no one's using the AI, and then the AI just sits there.
But people are using the AI because their market's not us. Well, it's each other. It's the other companies.
Yes. But like we're racing towards something, and we're starting to see the results of that with the console sales starting to drop.
Right.
We're racing towards something. I don't know what it is, but like, we're running quickly towards something, and like, I feel there needs to be some form of change, or we're all just gonna have to just like, I don't want to reserve or like just kind of like keel over, go like, well, this is it. I'll always just
I don't think this is
$4,000 for a computer now.
For the record, I don't think this is it, but I do think that like we're going closer and because like to a degree already. And not even to just period. It's already a luxury hobby. It's going to be more that. Right now it's like a luxury hobby in the sense that like going on vacation is a luxury hobby. But you know, normal people do that. That's you don't have to be like rich to do that. I think it's going closer and closer to being a luxury hobby, like owning a like Apple Vision Pro is a luxury hobby. and that's scary.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it is all, that's a takeaway. It's just all scary.
Yeah.
And it's not knowing what's going to happen or what we're going to do about it. And just kind of having to go like, we'll see what happens next year.
And you know what? You know, it's another thing that's interesting about it for me, looking at like the other markets that aren't like everybody, like everywhere in the world is impacted to a degree, right? But it's not for the same reasons, and it's not as drastic in other markets, like in Japan, right? Switch 2 is doing phenomenally in Japan, and part of it is because they have the Japanese language only model that's like $300. We don't got that here, and we'll probably never get that. But Switch 2 is doing really well over there. Like, and there's other market like France, the Switch 2 is doing really well. And there's other European markets and stuff like that where like the Switch 2 is still performing better than Switch 1 did, or any Nintendo console for that matter. That's not like, and the thing is like right now, everybody else is kind of just getting consolation prizes. Like PlayStation 5 won, quote unquote, won Black Friday, but their sales are still down like 70%. How's that a win?
And that's huge. 70% is crazy.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, the way that if you look at the trend for current gen consoles for Xbox and PlayStation, because obviously Switch 2 just came out. You would think that they're on their way out and we're about to get a new one, but they barely even started. Like, I still can't think of a reason to own either one of them.
Yeah. No, I keep walking past like the Xbox Series X and I look at it and I'm like, I think the only reason that I kind of want this is for the novelty of it, and that's not how I should view a console. I shouldn't be like, oh, what a novel thing to have near my TV so I can play some games.
Yeah, games that you can already play.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so much surrounding it is tough. And I really miss the days when we could hop on a podcast and not also have to talk about all the rest of the economy and world general like feel, to just talk about entertainment and stories and stuff that we really enjoyed, and it's just kind of like seeping more and more in. It sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. But also I think that that's part of the problem, is that like people feel the need to do that in the first place, because that's how we got here. As people being like, I don't want to talk about that. But there's people that all they care about is that they want to like center their life around that, and they're going to make sure that they get what they want. And if everybody else is being passive, they just get to do what they want, you know? So it's like, that got us here. And it's frustrating that we're in this place where it's unavoidable, but people made this bed.
Yeah, I mean, these are the conversations we have to have now, and I think it's now more than ever important to vote with your wallet with everything.
Yeah,
like, yes, you're one person, and like you not buying a certain product because of something they did, you're like, well, what? They're not going to get $5. It's like, yeah, but if more people are doing that, it's all going to start falling.
Yeah, everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
On that note, this is, you know what? I want to try to pull some good, and well, this is still kind of bad in the grand scheme of things. I was going to say that CD Projekt Red, they screwed up yesterday.
They screwed up.
They screwed up yesterday because they mixed up. This is the speculation from the community. They mixed up their sale prices for The Witcher on Switch 2, on Switch, and Cyberpunk 2077, because Cyberpunk 2077 on Switch 2 was $18 yesterday. It was supposed to be, because in the UK it's 40% off, but I don't know, some wires got crossed somewhere and they ended up making it 70% off and The Witcher 40% off. So The Witcher on Switch 1 costed more money than Cyberpunk 2077 did yesterday.
I hope some people nabbed it before they fixed it.
I copped because I was like, because I've been wanting to get that game for a while, but it's like, this is relatively rare for me because I usually don't care about third-party games just in general unless they're like super special. I bought Cyberpunk 2077 when it came out, but it was very buggy, and I was talking about this on Twitter too. It's just funny. It was very buggy when it came out. I got it on Xbox through Amazon digitally. Right? The game preservation, all that fun stuff, right? I got it through Amazon. The game's buggy. They were doing no questions asked refunds. I got my money back. They couldn't take the game because I didn't buy it through Xbox. So I still have the game on Xbox. For free. I got all 60 of my dollars back, and I still have the Xbox version on my console, right? I buy this game again because of a price error. I didn't know it was a price error at the time, but in retrospect, it was like, well, duh. I didn't look into it far enough to be like, oh, Witcher's 40% off. And I just saw on my wish list the red banner thing that's like, one of your games is on sale, and I was like, all right, bet. And I was like, $18, I'll buy this for $18. I don't know if I'm going to finish it or play it that long, but $18, sure, I'll do that. I've bought full price games that I may or may not play. So I bought that.
$18 for Cyberpunk's great.
Yeah,
that's a great.
Yes. So long story short, I have 2 copies of this game that in grand total I've spent $18 for.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is like Cyberpunk came out very, very buggy. It was a mess, but like since all of the patches and fixes they've done, it's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good game. It's a good story. It's definitely worth it. And I hope more people caught the $18 version on Switch too.
People online, which I thought was very weird. People online were like, "Oh, expect them to rescind this," and I'm like, "Why? Why should we expect that? I don't think I've ever experienced that, ever."
No, I've never. If anything, they want final sales all the time, so it's just like there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
If there's something wrong with the game, it's just like, oh, well, you bought it.
I think literally the only time that I've ever had, again, this is ironic given the narrative. The only time I've had a digital game be taken away from me is when I got a refund through Xbox specifically, like through the Xbox store. They'll take a video game. But I don't think I've ever had a moment where I've bought a game through another party, like I bought a digital copy from GameStop or Amazon or whatever. And it be taken away. And I've never had a moment where there was a price error through the manufacturer that even Nintendo advertised it. So I think it would be crazy for them to take it away, because Nintendo literally listed the thing. So that's why people assume that it was a CD Projekt Red issue, where somebody over there was like, yo, this is how much we wanted to cost, put it in the system, and Nintendo released the list of the holiday sales or whatever, and on that sheet it says 70% off, and that sale lasted like 12 hours, and then they got rid of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, can you imagine the terrible PR to be like, hey, we released our game for $18, we weren't supposed to do that, so could we just can
we have it back?
Have more money.
Give us the game back. Like, yeah, you want to buy this for the thing is like, I don't know how they do that, because
there's nothing you can do. It's done. Like, if anything, you just go online like, hey, we made a price error. I hope you enjoy our game.
Yeah. Yes.
And don't forget to check out Witcher 4 when that drops later.
Check out Witcher. Like, no way. Check out Cyberpunk 2078. 2078 in 2035. When that releases for full price for $120. Because that's the that's the path that we're on.
Yeah.
No way we get that game that soon. But I mean, I was already, I don't know, 10 hours into the video game. I already knew what the game was. It's cool on Switch too. I turned on the VRR mode. I still haven't played mouse mode yet because I literally only played it in handheld mode for like an hour.
Yeah. I tried mouse mode on Metroid Prime.
We got,
that one's a little rough. I ditched that early.
You know what? Hold on. That's not even good news. But I mean, maybe it's good news for you. How you feeling about Metroid Prime 4, Dan?
I finished it last night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disappointed. I wanted so much to love that game because I loved Metroid Prime 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something off about the entire game, and the NPCs that they add in there are bland, and I don't like them, and the setup is not great. Why do I care about Silex or whatever? And I'm just kind of like, at least the gameplay was good.
I don't agree about the level
design, but it was good.
I don't agree with the gameplay being good. I hate the gameplay.
I am coping, AJ. I am coping so hard.
I hate the gameplay so much. And the reason why I wanted to use this, because we are going to talk about their Zelda developments, right? And the thing about this game that I like, that it feels like I'm in the Twilight Zone, is because this game is just if Zelda didn't become Breath of the Wild. That's all this game is. It's a Zelda game. And it's just Ocarina of Time.
I could see what they were going for. I could see all the pieces that they were trying to do. And then somewhere along the line, they just stopped. And it was just like, okay, Metroid Prime 4, enjoy. And I'm just like, this is not what Prime is. I don't know what I'm playing, but this is not the series that I loved.
I wanted
It just
so
felt
bad.
off.
And I don't know what that is. I don't know what that looks like. It's not like literally, I don't literally mean this in the way that, like, by the letter, right? So
Yeah.
keep that in mind when I say this. I wanted so bad for this to be Metroid Prime's Breath of the Wild. I wanted it to be the thing that, like, it clicked. It's like, oh, now people understand and can care about this sort of formula, but it's modernized in a way that, like, closes the gap. Because
Yeah.
Zelda was always bigger than Metroid,
Yeah.
but Zelda still had that barrier to a degree. And then Breath of the Wild came out and it broke through that barrier. And it's like, this now is the game that people talk about it like it is. Like, when you think of or thought of Zelda, like as even like more casual Nintendo fans, they think of Zelda as being like a big three game, right? But like, if the big three is Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, Zelda was like down down here somewhere,
Yeah.
right? But post Breath of the Wild, it's up there now. Like, it literally is head to head. Like, if you look at best-selling Nintendo Switch 2 games, they're back to back to back. It's like, you got Mario, you got Zelda, you got Pokemon.
Yeah.
I thought that this was going. I don't know if I thought that was going to be like 30 million units sold, new era for Metroid, but I thought it was going to be more revolutionary than this.
This is the problem, because it ditches a lot of the things that I've always loved about Metroid. And I know you and I have different like opinions on Metroidvania,
right.
but I'm approaching this as a fan of Metroidvanias.
Yes.
I love Silk Song, because Silk Song has these moments where you're going through an area and you see a place you can't go, and you go, I can't do that yet, but when I get back, I'm going to see some stuff. And sure enough, like, a Silk Song's maps, once you unlock new powers and you go to those areas that you missed, it builds, and there's a great reward for it. And Metroid traditionally has had that sort of mentality too. Generally, the power-ups and stuff are just like extra missiles, extra this or whatever, but like, there was a sense of reward that felt really good. Metroid Prime 4 is the most linear Metroidvania I think I've ever
It's a
played.
Zelda game. It's hey, you just got the boomerang. You're probably going to fight a guy that needs you to fight them with the boomerang later. And
that's the thing. It doesn't feel, and like, when I went back to go collect all the items and stuff I missed, I'm like, okay, here's this. I needed the super missile to unlock this door. I unlocked that door. It's a single room.
Yeah, optional.
With one little puzzle for me to get one 5 missile upgrade. And that's not it. That's not Metroid. It's it's not it. It's so frustrating.
I think, like, to me, it's just like, I get, like you said, the difference in like how you feel about Metroidvanias, right? That like, if they nailed Metroid Prime 4 and they made it Metroid Prime 4 and it followed up on Metroid Prime 3 and it was the Metroid Prime 4 that Metroid fans wanted to happen, right? I don't think that's the game that you take 8 years to make. And like, they didn't even satisfy that.
Yeah, no, I'm truly confused. The game that I got, I'm like, this is not an 8-year game. When did you officially scrap everything? Did you scrap everything 2 years ago? Because that's what I feel like. It feels like that, hey, we need to scrap everything, go back to the drawing board. Seems like it happened way, way later in the process than we were led to believe. Because the other game, like, in like top of my head, one game that they looked at it and they went, this ain't it. We're going to scrap it and we're going to start from the top and remake this. That was Doom 2016, and it went hard. I thought the
That's a
same
little
was
different.
gonna
That's a little
happen
different.
here.
That's a little different because like
Yeah,
Doom 2016 didn't change hands with studios, and like not just that, but
that
like
true,
you're
true, true.
changing hands with studios on different sides of the world. And on
Yeah,
top of that, even the studio that so they started it with the studio. It was Bandai Namco Singapore. That A is a third party. B is in a different country than not only the main studio like Nintendo. It's also in a different country from the studio that originated the formula, right?
yeah,
On top of the fact that the studio that originated the formula has historically had like lost in translation kind of like relationships with Nintendo in the past because of the fact that they're in Austin, Texas, and they have very Western views of game development, and Nintendo's in Japan and they have very Japanese views of game development. You're adding a whole nother layer of like, if not two, because again, third party, like they don't own, or they do now, but they didn't own the studio that was working on the original vision of Prime 4. So like that getting scrapped and then having to like restart that, I could see that taking longer than we would think that it would if it was just like a wholly internal thing that they said, we started off on the wrong foot, let's start over. It's like somebody else started this and we're literally starting over. We're not picking up, because a lot of times if you're restarting something that you are wholly working on internally, the new version of the thing is also worked on by you, you're repurposing a lot of the stuff. But I would be shocked if they repurpose literally anything from the original vision of what Metroid Prime 4 was when Bandai Namco Singapore was working on it.
yeah. And that's the big thing that I didn't take account of when I was like, oh, they're scrapping it. It's gonna feel like Doom 2016. But like there was still another part of me is like when they said, hey, we're giving it back to Retro Studios. I'm like, great, they get it. They know how this works.
But they don't.
And apparently not.
Because I think that's the other part that people aren't taking into account, right? Retro Studios now is not the Retro Studios that made Metroid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like they're the Retro Studios that made Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze. That's a different set of talents there. There's different leadership and different staff there now. It's a different company. So I don't even know why they took that up. I think that they would have been better off just being like, nah, like we want to work on something that's not Donkey Kong. So let's just take another franchise, maybe something that aligns better to what they have grew accustomed to working on.
Yeah.
But them working on Metroid Prime 4 it's legacy. It's a legacy pick. It's like that'll feel good for fans seeing that logo again on this franchise.
And it makes me really worried for the Metroid franchise now, where I'm just like,
the franchise are just Prime, because Dread.
That's the thing is I think about Dread and I'm like, do what? Dread nailed it. Dread was great, and I'm just hoping that sentiment is enough to warrant another shot. Like they're probably going to be another Metroid. But the Metroid Prime, like, offshoot of this, I don't know how well this did to justify them to continue it. Which sucks, because I think the ending made it feel like there could be Prime 5.
I think they're definitely doing a Prime 5.
I hope they're going to do a Prime 5. They probably will.
I think they're definitely doing a Prime 5. I would be surprised if they continue to go down this path if they get a Prime 6. Because I think the momentum that they got from like the whole thing, Metroid Prime 4 has become like mythologized after that whole saga. Yeah. Like everybody, regardless of if they were a Metroid fan or not, built up this game in their head where it was like, well, it has to be again, they spent 8 years making this video game. Nintendo doesn't do that. Nintendo, if they're going to scrap a game, first of all, again, they don't really do that. But if they're going to scrap it, it's going forever, and we might see bits and pieces of it in ways that we'll never directly know. But for them to be like, no, this game is worth us restarting, and this isn't a franchise, like it's not even Mario, you know what I mean? Like, if they're if I could see them spending 8 years making a video game, it has to be like a Mario game or Zelda. Now, them doing that for Metroid felt like they thought that they were gonna turn it into something else. And then they just didn't.
Well, and I think that's what we were hoping for, because, you know, the Switch really kind of marked this moment of like a lot of things kind of shifting, and like the IPs evolving. Like, you know, like you said, Breath of the Wild,
Kirby,
Mario to a degree.
yeah,
Kirby
Mario.
was a great example. Like
Pokemon, for better or worse, for people.
right? And so when Metroid Prime 4 was announced, we were like, this is going to be the Breath of the Wild of the Metroid series. And then we got Dread somewhere in between, which was great, but it didn't really like revolutionize the genre in a massive way. Like, it was still a 2D,
you know what? Now that I
side-scrolling
think
Metroid.
about it, we should have saw the writing on the wall with that. Because with Breath of the Wild, like our Metroid Dread, in a sense, was like, or multiple kinda, like would have been something like Skyward Sword and A Link Between Worlds, both of which drastically or meaningfully, not necessarily drastically, because drastic I would say is Breath of the Wild. That's drastic.
Yes,
but
that's drastic.
Those two games, they telegraph that we're going to change something. You know, Dread doesn't really telegraph they're changing anything. It's just like, this is a Metroid game. It's pretty.
Yeah, it was a Metroid game, and they just made it great.
Yeah.
They just made a really good Metroid game.
Yeah.
And that, like, at the time, I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I needed and wanted. Thank you. And you know, the takeaway from all of this is I need to listen to my gut more, because when I saw the first, like, not the logo teaser, the first actual like teaser for the game, something about me just went, something's not right here. Something's off, and I couldn't put my finger on it, and I need to go back and rewatch it. But there was just something about it that I watched it and went, I'm worried now. I don't think I should be worried. I shouldn't be worried about this, but I'm nervous. Why am I nervous? And sure enough, like, first 15 minutes of the game, I'm like really going like, this is it. Here we go. And I streamed it too, and like I could just if you watch, I think you can start to see my excitement just slowly fade off my face when I realize, oh, this is basic.
I literally,
This is like real basic.
When I started playing it, because I got it that Wednesday, and for this game, I thought that I was gonna. My hope was that I liked it. I wanted to like this game. I wanted it to be like, I get it now. I understand Metroidvania. Because like I played Silksong and that was like fine, but like I still don't like Metroidvanias for the reasons that I always didn't like Metroidvanias. And I was like, well, hopefully I'll like this. And I got caught up in like the mythology of it all, where I'm like, this game has to be good. There's no way that it's not. So I just started playing it all stream, assuming I was going to eventually make a video. And then at the end of it, I just stopped. I just don't want to play the game anymore. Every time I'm playing the game, I'm dreading playing the game. And that's not, I don't want to feel like that. Like,
no, I had to push myself through it. Like, it brought back, like, the biggest thing with Prime that I don't think anyone really enjoys is sitting there and scanning everything. It's not, that is not a fun collectible or like progressive thing. It just, it's bad. It just slows down the game.
The thing about it though, that I will say, is it helped me understand the video game better, because it does give you that context that I think that they take out of the game intentionally, but it's not in a way that's good. It just turns it into a point and click, and that's why. Like,
yeah, the fact that for me to understand what's going on or how I need to approach certain, and like scanning the enemies to figure out how to like tackle them, I think is good. Like, I think if done right, I don't think they did it right in this one. Like, being able to, if you're fighting an enemy, you're having a hard time, being able to quickly get a scan on them and get like a rundown how to handle it. Good. Like, I think, but like it as a progression, as a metric to be like, hey, if you want 100% this game, which most people who play Metroidvanias enjoy doing, it's why we sit there and like check every nook and cranny for items.
Right.
Having to stop, hey, that might be lore. Nope, never mind. It's a turned off console. Okay, moving forward. Oh, that could be a log entry. No, it's just a random pod that I could clearly see is broken. Great, cool. Moving on.
I think that's my issue with it too, where like a lot of the context is left to the scans, where like it could have, like if the scans give you additional context, but you could figure out the thing that you needed to know without them, then I think that's a good idea. And I do agree, like as far as like the gameplay mechanic of having to like wrestle with the enemy to like get a scan on the enemy is like that's good. That's a good foundation. But the execution of it, I think, is bad, because it shouldn't be like a lot of the enemies. The only way you really are going to know, like, okay, they're going to take damage if I do this very specific thing, is if you scan them. But I think that the way that you make that feel good is if it gives you some sort of like leg up, rather than it being the only way to win is to take this risk, or quote unquote risk, the tug of war of like fighting to scan them, and then it's like do this very monotonous thing that's not hard at all. Okay, cool. That's the gameplay. It's like the hard, quote unquote hard part most of the time is scanning them, and then it just becomes a monotonous cycle of like, all right, I'm waiting until you break apart, and then I'm shooting the individual parts, and then you're gonna come back, like that kind of thing. It's like,
yeah, there's it reminded me a lot of like the early problems with like Prime 1. The scanning was a constant like grievance with players. Like they just hated how much they had to scan to get the good ending, essentially. And then it also has an issue that early Destiny had, where the lore and the story and like the emotional part of the game was locked behind like text. Like you just have to go sit and read. And I'm fine if you want to dive deeper into the lore, having extra text for them to like for a player to go through and understand the world more, I think is fine. But it shouldn't be an important piece to the narrative you're spinning.
Yes.
It needs to be additional, and Metroid fell into both of those traps. Too many scanning and too much of the emotional part of the story is stuck behind logs. Because the story is like the story of the slight spoilers on the game of the Lemurians, the race there is really, really tragic. And if you read the logs, especially in the research center, you read the story of a person that was trying so hard to save his race, and in the end he couldn't do it. And he like the lament of him, like, I tried everything, I couldn't do it. Everyone's leaving, I'm staying behind, I'm going to solve this. That's great storytelling, but all of it is in logs.
Yeah.
And no, like most of the player base is just going to go, all right, I got the log. It's in my completionist checklist. Moving on. It's tough.
It's very whack. I wish I liked it. I don't.
Yeah. I really want to like it, but I hope that if they're going with Metroid Prime 4, they take to heart the lessons from this one.
You mean Metroid Prime 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
And less escort missions. There's too many times where you have to protect someone. It sucks.
Yeah, escort missions are not the best, but that's why I say this game's a GameCube game. It's just a GameCube game.
That is the best way to explain it. If this was on GameCube, this would have been great.
It would have been the best game.
It would have been like, this is sick, dude. I could drive around in the desert. This is awesome.
Yes. I brought up the Zelda comparison to also say that we got some info from Monolith Soft. It sounds like, according to the general manager of the Zelda franchise over at Nintendo, they want Monolith Soft to take a more core role on a unique title in the Zelda series. So, like, up until now, Monolith Soft has been a support studio for Zelda games, and it's been that way since, like, I want to say Skyward Sword. And they had a really big role in like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They helped them facilitate the open world aspects of the video game, which makes sense because they have a lot of experience with that, given the Xenoblade video games. And this, it's funny because it's like I saw this conversation happening on my timelines of people being like, them resurrecting the like, I hate Breath of the Wild actually conversation. And I was like, where is this coming from? Why are people talking about this? And this is why. It's because this suggests that they want the games to be even more Breath of the Wild-y. Like, and Aonuma has been saying for a while that he just straight up doesn't want to make any more traditional Zelda games. He just wants to make this. That's what he wants to do. And part of me is like right now in the immediate future, I'm like, yes, W. But at the same time, I'm like, that's dumb because that's what got us here in the first place. They find a formula that they like and then they're like, all right, 30 years of this. And to me, it's just like, I don't know. Like, a sequel's fine. I'm down with Tears of the Kingdom. But after the Tears of the Kingdom and you wrapped it up, we got, like, the story's done. We closed the book. Like, all right, go back to the drawing board and give us something new. You know what I mean? Like, make it a meaningful change, not just, you're on a boat now. I think that's what got us here. And there's obviously the people, like there are people that are fans of that. There's people, especially gamers, that enjoy that comfort. They like falling in love with a franchise and then getting small iterations on that franchise that they fell in love with. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that gamers start gaming when they're children, and that's when you form those very like vapid bonds to things. But that's another conversation entirely. But I don't know. I'm just hoping that like if Monolith Soft does take a central role in the next Zelda thing, that like them having a bigger role means that it's going to be more different than not. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Xenoblade series. I thought 1 was great. 2 was a little weird in my opinion, but it was still good. I thought 3 was amazing.
I never played 3. I do really actually like. So the thing, I like the Xenoblade games, but at the same time, I just don't got the time for that. They're too long.
No, they're long.
Yeah, they're really too long. They're too long. But I do like the combat in that video game, and that's enough for me to want to play a RPG. If the combat is actually engaging, I'm down.
Yeah, it's still kind of it's again another like evolution on like turn-based in the fact that, but it's more built around like cooldowns and action than it is wait your turn. It's
an action
steady
game.
Pace.
Yeah, it's an action game, but it's an action game with some training wheels.
Yeah,
it's kind of. It's like ZA. ZA is an action game with training wheels.
And there's a lot that I really really like about it. I'd be really interested to see what they're going to do. My only thing is I love Breath of the Wild. I love Tears of the Kingdom. I wish for better dungeons to tackle. And I know that's just me being the, like, I love traditional
I don't
Zelda
disagree
games.
with you, like, in theory. But I disagree with you in practice because, like, that's what Tears of the Kingdom was, and that's the thing that I hate the most about Tears of the Kingdom. I thought that I was gonna think that was sick, or it's like, okay, I love Breath of the Wild. I like the end result of what Breath of the Wild was, but I do recognize that it would be like more engaging and like more engrossing if, like, instead of it being like this, like how shrines are structured and they all look the same. Like thematically, if they had a different coat of paint, right? I think that in practice with Tears of the Kingdom, all it kind of did was flatten them. Like, I think that if the shrines actually operated in a similar, or not shrines, the dungeons operated in a similar way, which I mean, I guess I'm kind of just saying the same thing. If the dungeons operated in a similar fashion to the shrines, where it's like the solution isn't so stringent, I would have liked them more. Like, I think that it was the solutions, or even if they were better at padding, because the solutions just didn't really make sense to me most of the time. Where it was it's like, oh, you're in the air temple, so you like the way you solve this. In theory, the way that would have been cool, and Breath of the Wild version of what a temple is, if it's like, oh, you just gotta like get enough wind element energy at this thing and then you can clear the puzzle. But in practice, the way that it worked was like a traditional Zelda thing where it's like, well, you need this specific MacGuffin to blow the wind that we want you to blow at the thing. But what would have kept that the spirit of Breath of the Wild alive is if you were able to like circumvent that by getting there in the end anyway, by doing like your like Rube Goldberg machine version of solving the puzzle. And
and so when I say more dungeons, I just like it's a kind of agreeing on a different part where I'm just like, it was just a little too railroady. In Tears of the Kingdom.
Right.
Like I felt that the dungeons just weren't really notable in Breath of the Wild. Like you just kind of go in, it has like a gimmick and then you're done.
Right.
And then Tears of the Kingdom, it was like, okay, we're going to make this feel more traditional Zelda, but there was still something off. There's something in between that can work. I don't know exactly what that is, but the idea of theme, like I think the shrines in Tears of the Kingdom felt and were more rewarding than the dungeons ever were.
Yeah,
because and that was the thing, is like maybe there needed to be less shrines and some of those mechanics put into the dungeons instead, because every shrine taught you a new way to engage with the world and the environment and your tools. I think so. I needed more of that in the dungeons.
I think that's my main problem with how dungeons work. And I think that they could work better if they actually like close the loop. Because right now the way dungeons work, just generally, but in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it's kind of like the game spends all this time teaching you about how like open-ended the game is, and then you get to these dungeons and it's like, it's not open-ended anymore. You got to kind of just do what we want you to do in the way that we want you to do it. And Breath of the Wild changes that a little bit more in the sense that like you can approach different things in different orders. You can sequence break easier in Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom less so, but both of them are still like, you got to do this hyper specific lock and key style thing. I think the way that you actually do that in a way that feels rewarding, and the way that Breath of the Wild feels rewarding, is like you're able to have these like flashback moments. And it doesn't even necessarily, and in fact, it shouldn't be hyper specific in the sense where it's like, oh, I did this one shrine where I did this thing, and now this thing is meeting me again. I should be able to have experienced a complete different set of shrines from you and still arrive at a solution that is informed by the shrines that I've done in the world, in the way that I explored the world to get through the thing. It shouldn't take me being in a dungeon for the dungeon to be like, these are the rules here. The world should operate like I'm learning a language and I'm taking a test when I'm in the dungeon. I think
it's supposed to be like, it needs to present a level of challenge that you can approach from different angles based off of your experience within the world.
Right.
And I think that's ultimately what makes making a dungeon so hard in those games, because that just requires a ton more forethought and just longer.
Right.
But I mean, for me, it's like I love solving those puzzles. Like the shrines in Tears of the Kingdom were great. I felt I agree. So many good dopamine hits, and it's just like, how do you get that same feeling in the dungeon without railroading? And I don't have the answer right now. And I think that's really the hardest part.
I think that's time. It's time. Because like for me, and I don't know if you're the same way. I suspect you're probably the opposite. But for me, when I go into a shrine, I'm like, how do they want me to solve it? And how do I tell them no? That's how I go into literally every single dungeon. It's like, how do I tell them no to the solution that they want from me?
No, that was my favorite part was, okay, I see the solution. I see what they're going for. But I do remember a trick from a couple shrines ago that I think I could speed run this, and that feels really good. And it's like, how do you get that same feeling in a dungeon where you go like, I see what they're doing here, but they also gave me a rocket, and I do have a shield, so I think I'm just gonna,
Yes, exactly. And I think that like,
Yeah.
because I do ultimately, I think that like lock and key style doesn't have to go anywhere, and in fact, I don't think it should. Because it's better for people that aren't as good at games and problem solving. I think that a lot of the times the creative solutions are more skill based, and I don't necessarily want people to be forced into needing to hashtag get good to be able to play through the video game. But I also don't want to be walled off from the ability to do that, because I would lose interest quick if it's always these very like simple puzzles. Like I think that people get Zelda fans that really like the linear version of the video game, they get trapped by this idea that it's more complex to make and solve a puzzle with an intended solution. But the opposite is true. It is so much harder to make a rewarding functioning puzzle that has multiple possible solutions that feel satisfying.
That's like, I'll even take it to like, it's one of the most entertaining things when you're playing D&D is when your buddy is DMing and he's clearly laid out a solution. And you go like, I see what you're doing here, but I happen to have this, and this is going to help me circumvent everything you just planned. And there's something really fun about that for everyone, even the pissed off DM that's like, yeah, go ahead and do that.
I never experienced that, but it sounds cool.
There'll be some people that know, but like that's
I'm
the thing.
Sure,
it's
a lot
like,
of people will know.
yeah. It's if there is a way to present your sort of standard lock and key tools, where it's like if you don't know the clever solution, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, this is what it wants me to do. I did it, and I feel rewarded, and I learned something.
Right.
But if you're like, it gave me a rocket, I have a shield, and I do see a tiny little gap in that wall, I think I might be able to circumvent this one with a little clever platforming. Like that's the kind of the building block that the dungeon needs to work with is a way for players to do the intended puzzle, but have the tools to circumvent and take a different route and approach to the dungeon.
Exactly. And like for like the example I was giving earlier, like in the all of them are like, obviously, because that's the whole dungeon thing. They're these elemental things where it's like you're in the wind temple or whatever, right? There's other ways to get wind. Why do I need to use your fan? I got so many other ways to generate wind that looks the same. Like everything else in this world and in this game and in its engine is so consistent, but in this very specific place, it's not. And I think that that's the one thing that's missing is like them making that consistent. If everything is, it's to the point where like they don't let you pet dogs in the video game because that isn't multi-purpose. But then when you go to dungeons, they're like, forget the multi-purpose thing. There's this one of a kind thing that you only interact with in this temple. Would you rather do that? That's cool, right? And it's like, no. That's not what you taught me for the entire span of this video game.
Yeah. And I think that just all kind of comes back to Monolith and knowing how, not that I think they're going to go like, oh, we're just going to take Xenoblade now and put it in the Zelda format. I don't think that's...
Yeah, no, I don't think they're doing that.
It's not what they're going to do. But like, I'm hoping that they can, take the pieces and build something that feels different, but also still has that creative freedom for us to tackle the problems in front of us the way that feels best to us.
Yeah. Because I don't even think that... So, like, I put franchises in two buckets. It's either you're in the Smash Brothers bucket or you're in the Pokemon bucket. Smash Brothers in a pocket where everybody is like, all right, people are happy. Just make more of this. Like, just, improve it in ways that make sense, make it look better, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Pokemon's in a different bucket in the sense that it's like everybody hates this for different reasons. So you need to reinvent this. You have to. You have to. Yeah. I think that Zelda currently is in the Smash Brothers bucket. It was in the Pokemon bucket, but now it's in the Smash Brothers bucket. As long as you improve Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in a meaningful way, I don't think you need to reinvent the wheel yet. But I do think that it's dangerous for them to stay in that mindset, especially with a game like Zelda, where we're not necessarily liable to get them in the same way that we get Smash. Because I think why Smash Brothers operates in the way that it does, and it has for so long, is because we get one of them per generation, and that's it. And Pokemon, we get 4 at least.
We get a ton.
Yeah, like, and Zelda's not all the way there. We don't get 4. But we might get 2, like we might even get 3. And now we get a lot, but not in the same way. Like, obviously we got Breath of the Wild and we got Tears of the Kingdom. Those are the Zelda games from that generation. And we're probably going to get 2 this generation if I had to guess. But
I don't know if I put the Wisdom one. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. It was
the Echoes of Wisdom. No, that doesn't count for me.
That was not. It just it felt off.
That's my other thing, right? Because people are like, when they were having this whole debate, they're like, "Oh man, I want them to go back to the Zelda that I like," and it's like, I was able, like, my time. The funniest thing about my time on YouTube is I'm able to map my sentiment. Where it's like, at first I was bargaining. At first I was like, I know you guys are freaking nostalgia fiends, and that's cool. You can have a little bit of your nostalgia, and then let's do some new thing. And now I'm like, no, F your nostalgia. We need new things. Now I'm full stop. Like, I don't care even a little bit. And that's how when I was talking about Zelda yesterday on Twitter, is I was like, I don't even want remakes. I don't want them to do top-down remakes. I don't want them to do HD version of insert 3D Zelda game that you like a lot. If you're going to remake a game, change it. That's what I want. I'm like, if you're going to make Ocarina of Time, make Ocarina of Time, but Breath of the Wild. like what does that look like?
That's the thing. Is like, at this point in time, it's easier now to get a hold of the old version, like the old games that you like. Mm-hmm. 10, 20 years ago, that wasn't possible. You had to have hoped that your parents kept your stuff.
Right.
And now it's just like, Nintendo's put most of the Zeldas on Nintendo Online. So if you want to be nostalgic and play Ocarina of Time, go play Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I can literally play 30 years worth of Nintendo video games on my one console. You don't need to remake that again. You don't got to do it.
Yeah, you don't need it. What we need right now is like like Breath of the Wild. Like, honestly, your buckets are a great example. It's like, if they're in the Smash bucket, cool. Let's just roll with them for a little bit longer until they get put into the Pokemon bucket.
Yes.
And then those are your priority to overhaul and change.
Exactly. And that's all I want. But the problem is, those buckets exist for people too. And that's the issue. There's the people that want the thing to be the thing that they knew when they were children, and that's it. And then I don't even really know that many people that are in the other bucket where they want things to meaningfully change. I think people are just bad at change in general, and I think gamers are a microcosm of that. I think gamers are particularly bad with change. And they're particularly uncreative people, which is insane for the medium that it is. So like they hate when things are new. But at the same time, it's like, if it's a good enough idea, like, obviously they embrace it. Like Breath of the Wild sold 30 million copies for a reason. But
yeah, I'll argue that I think the most vocal people of the gaming, I don't know if it's a necessarily majority, but definitely the most vocal are the ones in the Pokemon bucket want the Pokemon.
So that's the thing. Like, yeah, that's what I mean, though. Because, like, I think that, like, the majority, in terms of, like, the quantifiable, like, the people that buy the video game, right? Most people don't care. Most people don't care one way or the other. It's like, just give me a good game. I don't really care about what it is, right? But the people that we're able to engage with are particularly nostalgic, and they're particularly averse to change. Those are the people that are going to be in your YouTube comments talking about the thing. And 9 times out of 10, those are people being like, I don't really want thing to be different.
Yeah. And now I'm sitting here and I'm starting to get nervous about Mega Man again. Because I'm sitting here going like, is it just going to be more Mega Man? Because Mega Man needs to change.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know. I think that like every franchise, and the one that understands it the most is Mario. Mario understands this the most, and particularly 3D Mario. 2D Mario dropping the ball crazy.
That's a different thing. It's simply a different thing.
Yeah. But 3D Mario understands very, very intimately the need for like quantifiable change, and and to be unapologetic about that. Yes, you have a water jetpack. Deal with it. You're in space. Deal with it. You have a sentient hat. Deal with it, right? And I think that as creators, they need to do that. You need to do that. Because if you leave it up to the consumer, we're just gonna like be having shadows of our former selves, and we're just gonna be doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like people can say that they're tired of sequels, but there's a reason why all we get is sequels. There's a reason why Robert Downey Jr. and freaking Chris Evans are the star of the brand new Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Like And it's not the people that are making it. It's the people that won't buy anything unless it's the thing that they feel comfort in.
Yeah. Well, and that's the brilliance of the 3D Marios, and why it's always held in so regard. Every time that there's a whisper of, oh, we're getting a 3D Mario, it's a huge thing, is because a 3D Mario never has like a super set formula. It has fundamentals that are always consistent, but everything surrounding it just is completely different, and it feels different, and it plays different. Like you can play Galaxy and be an expert. That does not mean you're going to go to like Sunshine and suddenly get it. And so like Mario, that it's the one thing I always love about 3D Marios. And when they come out, I'm just like, I'm getting a brand new experience. It's still gonna be my Jumpy Boy, and I know I'll have triple jump. I'll know I have backflip, but I don't know what piece. Like,
they might give me a roll this time. I might be able to sometimes they haven't done it in a minute, and they only really did it in Galaxy. But there's gonna be cool suits, maybe. I'm gonna get a new friend he got some powers, like.
Yeah, when I saw Cappy, I was a little like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then I started playing. I'm like, dude, Cappy's great. I love it.
And you know what? Like great. Cappy is like, it's the fact that they came out in the same year, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, is like because they mirror each other so well in that sense. Where it's like, Mario honestly does it better. Where they give you better in the sense that it's more direct, it's more straightforward, and in the dichotomy of like, you could do the obvious solution of like use Cappy to control this thing, to break that, or get up here, or get through this place or whatever, right? Or you could use Cappy to like acrobatics your way through or over or through the thing, right? And that's not something that usually exists in Mario. And kind of what Flood does it a little bit. But for the most part,
Flood gives you a little bit of freedom, but it's still very limited in the capacity. Like the moveset is more like stiff, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But with Odyssey, you could just blow it wide open. I'm just going to do what I want, how I want. As long as I'm good enough to do it, I'm going to do it. And then the game knows that you're going to do that because it rewards you for doing that.
Oh yeah,
which is oh my god, why does not every game do that? Every game needs to do that. I know the adage with video game people is like, not everything needs to be. But you know what? Every game needs to do. Every game needs to give me like a ceiling and a floor, and there needs to be like dynamic range there. It can't. I don't want just very straightforward solution in 2025 because we got the technology to do more than that.
Well, it's one of the things I like about Metroid Dread is that they found that there was a sequence break, and rather than like plugging it up and patching it, they reward you. It lets you instant kill a boss if you sequence break, and it's like awesome, cool.
Yeah, I need more of that.
Yeah.
Okay. We've been in good news for too long.
Okay.
Bad news.
Yeah, let's have a little bad news.
Bad news. 007 First Light is being delayed, which is not that bad of news. I feel like I see people being more sad about this than it really makes sense because it's only 2 months.
2 months is not much.
Yeah, 2 months not
like
that bad.
In the grand scheme, it's not like they.
You could be Grand Theft Auto.
GTA 6.
Yes. And it's funny because every time you don't even gotta read it. Every time you see that image of like a studio and then game logo, it's like, you're delaying this game 4 months, aren't you? Like every time, I didn't even read that. I was like, okay, First Light's being delayed, and I literally just made a video being like, this is the games that are coming out next year, which it's still coming out next year, but the date is wrong now.
Yeah.
Is this a game that you're looking forward to at all, Dan?
I haven't looked a lot into it. I think depending on how the reviews are, I might dive in. I get the hype, and from what I've seen, like with gameplay and trailers and stuff, I'm like, this actually looks like a 007 that's going to stand out a bit more. Mm-hmm. But I'm not super excited. When it gets here, and we'll see I'll see what I think then.
I don't know how long it's going to last, but I still am very much so like enamored with the idea of like third parties caring again for Nintendo platforms, and that's just the extent of why I even care about this game.
I'm so glad all these third parties are finally like getting it. It's like, if we want AJ to play our games, guys, we gotta put it on the Switch.
Yes, literally. But again, who knows how long it's gonna last? Because even like with like GameCube, it was just normal. So like a lot of times we're just like, all right, whatever. I don't care. Because like the reason why I buy the consoles that I buy is because there's like something special about the game that comes to it, right? Like most of what I play on, well, when they have them, most of what I play on my PlayStation is first party PlayStation things. Same thing for my Xbox, same thing for my Switch. I like the first party games because they take advantage of the hardware in ways that third parties do not. Third parties make more like sanitized, clinical, very, like cookie cutter kinds of games because they have to, because it needs to fit multiple specs and SKUs and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. So usually that leads to me being like, I don't really care about that one. And sometimes they get through, like I'm going to buy the next Grand Theft Auto video game, right? Like that kind of thing. Sometimes I'll do that, or a Marvel Rivals, I'll play that. But if it's like a third party game and like there's not really nothing to write home about other than the fact that it's like it's another game in the genre that you may or may not be attached to, I don't really care, because there's not really a genre for me that I'm attached to in that way. Like, yeah, that's why whenever there's like that kind of game, I don't really care about what genre it is per se, but whenever there's something like that at the Game Awards, usually that's what it is. It's like people really love that genre, and this is a good example of that genre. For me, that doesn't move the needle. It's like this needs to be like a special game in the context of the medium. And that doesn't that's not usually something that third parties do, unless you're Rockstar. No. Rockstar is literally the only third party that consistently is moving the medium forward, not just their genre, not just their franchise, not just their studio, but the medium.
Well, I think it first, hard to agree with a lot of it, of like they have to make this work on multiple platforms, so there's a level of it that they don't, of detail they can't go into because it just might not work. There's only like so many like third party franchises that I might get super excited about. I heard there was new Rayman coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, I saw that,
and I was like, that's really exciting. And then I remembered, years, man. Yeah, well, but like I say that, but then I remember, I didn't play Legends because it just kind of looked like Origins, and Origins was enough for me. Like for me, it's like really the stuff that I want, the is coming from the indie scene more than anything else. Like that's where the like games that aren't first party, that's where I'm generally looking for. Whenever Devolver Digital starts promoting a game, I always pay attention, look at it, and go like, that might be for me. But like, you know,
I think the problem, I'm like that sometimes with indies, but for me, the reason why I don't gravitate to them as much is a lot of the times indies are like Elseworld retro games. It's like, what if this franchise, this genre, this thing that you like evolved in this way that it didn't because it's made by this studio that doesn't want to take risks? And it's just not usually new enough for me to want to embrace it. And the times that I do, it's because I'm trying to like gain some level of like Silksong. I played Silksong because it's like, well, I want to understand Metroidvanias, and I feel like this might help me gain an understanding for the franchise. I mean, for the genre that I don't currently have. Whereas like, and that could just be because there's so many of them, and like it's not as easy to keep track of them, and they're also harder, at least to me. It seems like they're harder to demo. It's harder to like see a indie game and immediately know that I'm going to want to play it. I need to play it before I know that I want to play it, and there's too many of them for me to test all of them. Like,
yeah, that for me it is a vast sea, because the indie scene is anyone that can make a video game, right?
Yeah.
But like some of like the big standout ones, like Hades 2, Silksong, Ball X Pit, I had way more fun than I was expecting to have with basically a glorified Breakout, but I had a blast playing it. And Mega Bonk was another one that I was like, this is just Vampire Survivors, but 3D. Why am I sinking so many hours into it? This is good. I'm loving it. I think it's when you find like maybe I've just like gained like a bit of a skill in like finding really good indie games, or I'm more tied into that scene because of the nature of, you know, I worked at Theory for so long, so like
that's like your thing. Like,
yeah. So like I understand the indie horror scene specifically, but also just indie games in general. That's where I see the most fun innovation, the most unique spins on the stuff that, or like gaming concepts that I've seen before.
Yeah.
And like then I look at something like First Light, and my thing is like, it looks great. Like from what I've seen, it looks cool. Is it just going to feel like another shooter for me?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my biggest worry, is like, am I just going to be like, okay, cool, this is a shooter?
Yes. And like I said, that's the same thing for me. That's why I don't play that many third-party games. And I'm not as tapped in with the indie scene. I very much so could be not necessarily wrong, because I do think that that's a lot of the indie scene is like, man, I really loved this game when I was growing up. I'm going to make my version of that game. And I don't need that. Like, I'm not a nostalgic person. I especially don't care about other people's nostalgia. If I don't care about my nostalgia to that degree, what makes you think I'm going to care about yours?
Yeah, I mean, most of the indie games that I'm playing though, I don't see as much of that nostalgia. I think there is a good like if you're on Twitter and you're seeing like people promote their games, so many times I've seen like Kingdom Hearts looking things, I've seen Zelda looking things, I've seen Mega Man looking things. I'm like, this is all fine, and those aren't the ones that I gravitate towards. Like I gravitate towards the ones that like present a unique type of gameplay, a unique spin that doesn't feel, that might have nostalgic like graphics because it's easier to do,
right?
Less polygons than hyper detail, but there's some like, that's where all of the really cool aesthetics and like games that feel not just, hey, this is another gray and brown Souls-like game.
Right.
Have fun.
Agreed. There's also a lot of like I'm gonna play Phasmo because it's coming to Switch too. I just like, I don't know, I hate playing games on my computer, and that walls me off from a lot of video games too.
Yeah.
It's not like, because it's not even a platform thing, because I could put Windows on my computer. I got a powerful enough computer to play most things if I really wanted to. But I just that process is just not. It doesn't gel with me.
Which is a shame. Peak is peak.
But that's what I'm saying. I would love to play Peak. But I'm not playing it on a computer. I refuse. Yo, if it comes to Switch 2, I'm there day and date. Or literally any console. Well, not Xbox. I'm not giving them money until they stop enabling the genocide. But I mean, that's what it is. Okay. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. You snuck it in so smoothly. I wasn't ready.
But yeah, that's just the easiest one to say. It's not even really because I think that gets conflated a lot too, where I'm like, I want to play it on Switch 2. It's just because it's easier. It's easier for me on multiple levels. One, I don't want to give PlayStation money for an online service that I may or may not use every month. I can give Nintendo $80 a month for me and 7 other of my friends to play online for a year. Why am I giving you $20 a month to do it sometimes for just me? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why it's easier to just play it if it's on my Switch 2. There might be if it's particularly small thing and it's something I might play once or twice with a friend, I might buy it on if it's on the Mac OS Steam or whatever. I might get that, but I'm literally only doing that once. I play my friend Monty, she does a Minecraft server randomly when she gets the itch to play Minecraft. And I'll jump into that Minecraft server for one day and then I'm never touching it again. I'm never doing it again. I'm done. I'm out of here. You got me for the year, I'm out.
It's so funny that is such the Minecraft life cycle where it's for me, oh god, we're getting close. I could feel it. Every year it's time for about a month of really hyper fixating on Minecraft. And then afterwards, I'm like, great, never touching this again until next year.
Yeah. And that's the funny, because the longest that I've ever played Minecraft was with the Coffee Cult server. And we played that for a month. And we didn't even really play Minecraft. We were doing everything but Minecraft things.
Well, yeah, it was during the time where we just didn't really... I don't know what it is about the other Minecraft YouTubers that understood how to make content around a Minecraft server. All of us were going so we just play the game, right? And that's what we're doing. Okay, well,
I know.
You and Bob just hung out.
We were just hanging out.
Big Bean.
We were just hanging out. We didn't do none of that Minecraft stuff.
That was kind of the beauty of it. But God, there was something you said that I want to go back to. I forgot what it was though. It'll come back.
Was it about the indie games that I want to play if they come this way?
Oh yeah, it was just the moment. I doubt it's gonna happen, but if it does, the moment that Peak drops on Nintendo Switch, I'm hitting you and Bob up.
Yeah, I'm there.
We're gonna climb a mountain.
I'm there. I already, like I said, I'm playing Phasmophobia with Sailor, and I like doing that with my friends. I'm mad that they didn't do crossplay for Madden and 2K. Even though I don't care about Madden or 2K, I got friends and family that care about it a lot. I would have a lot of fun just even if it's once or twice, playing it with them. I like doing stuff like that. But not enough to engage with the platform that I don't want to play it on.
Yeah. Man, if you're doing Phasmo, we should definitely do a Phasmo. I love Phasmo.
I'm down. Like I said, I'm here for it, man. I just don't want to play it on PC or again Mac OS. It's not even it's not an Allegiance thing.
It's not even an option.
I don't want to play it on. Well, it is because I could do a wine thing or whatever, but I just don't want to do that.
Now, when you start doing that sort of OS emulation stuff, I always get a little it's remarkable how well the Steam OS handles things, but I'm always this is one bad day away from collapsing in on itself.
Oh, okay. I just got a message. I had to look at that. But
I was oh yeah, I know that was
I played
the show-stopping sentence.
I played what's it called? The drug dealing video game, Schedule One. I was playing that on my Steam Deck, and that's another thing. I would also like if the Steam Deck actually was what everybody in the world told me that the Steam Deck was, I would play a lot more PC games. But unfortunately, it's not, and it still feels like playing a game on a computer. It still feels like I'm like it's like there's an encumbrance meter every time I open a video game, and it's always full. So it's like I'll play freaking content warning and schedule one and peak and like all that stuff, but it never works well. It just never does. And you know what? Were you about to say? That would have been a good.
I was gonna say there's always the level of like console games multiplayer has to work through like the services it's attached to. Mm-hmm. But then when you get to indie game like multiplayer, especially on PC and stuff, like some of it's just a little funky to connect to people, it's not as simple as send, invite, get on. Sometimes like, all right, you're going to enter this code, make sure you enter this password, and then you can join my game. That's my core
problem with the platform. It's like they're inherently, because it's impossible, there's no guarantee that anything you do will work. And I hate that. I hate that.
You don't like starting streams with an hour of tech support? I love it. It's my favorite part.
I hate that so much. That's what I don't know if we talked about this, but like when I first started streaming, I dreaded streaming every day because I hate that. I want to be able to click go and not think about it. I don't want to think about nothing after I click go.
That's not how the world works, AJ.
That's not true. That's how most of my world works. And the things that it does not work like that with, I'm like, all right, goodbye.
You've carefully curated. My world works when I say go.
Yes. And especially for things that it's like, this is for leisure. I'm not like... Yeah. I don't want to do computer science. That's your job, multi-billion-dollar computer company. That's stupid that you're making me spend thousands of dollars to solve your problems for you. That's dumb. You should have freaking closed your platform and made it work. Because there's platforms that do it. So it's possible. Yeah. But they cut lines and they're like, yeah, but what if we get to launch our game 2 years before it's finished and call it early access? That's cool, right? And it's like, no, give me finished product.
Early access.
You want me to give you finished money? I want finished product. If I can't give you an IOU for when your game is finished to play the early access video game, I don't want it. I'm like,
early access video games was probably the worst thing that we as gamers embraced. Yes. We should have left that alone.
It's so whack. I want a finished product. You're taking my real life money. I want a real life finished product.
And it's one of those things too, where it's like, it happens all the time with these games that pop off on Twitch. They're early access games. Everyone plays it for a solid month, and then they stop playing it, and then the game fully releases and nothing
and nobody touches it. Yeah. And you know what? And it's not even just early access. There's games that are like technically released on Steam that are, by all intents and purposes, early access, but the standards are so much lower that they don't have to call it that anymore. Like Rivals of Aether 2 is that. It's that. Like, the only reason why it's not on consoles is because the game, by most people's standards, is not finished. So it is PC exclusive because that is something that they're allowed to do on that platform. And I hate that. I think that's stupid. I think everybody should be like, if I am giving you money, you should have to provide me a product that is finished. I think that's reasonable.
I think that's incredibly reasonable. We're paying for, like... I'm not going to order a sandwich with the bread missing.
Yeah. Yes. Get out of here with that, man. That's ridiculous. Yeah. So I was going to use that to segue, but I was telling on my Steam Deck, I actually played a game on my Steam Deck. I finished a video game on my Steam Deck, and it was Dispatch. And you know what?
Dispatch is great.
You know what? It's sad because even that game had performance issues on Steam Deck, which is terrible. I saw people being like, they're like, They were talking about the performance differences between the Switch 1 version and the Switch 2 version. They were like, how is it different? It's just pre-rendered video. And I was like, well, apparently not, because I had constant sync issues on my Steam Deck. And
it's not pre-rendered video.
Yeah, exactly. It would like, the audio would be out of sync constantly. There would be like, it would cut to black randomly. There would be like flickering.
Oh. No.
It was whack, but it was like good enough where I could play through the game. And like, actually, you know, like I hear that with like games on Steam Deck usually, where it's like, you know, it's good enough and the game runs at freaking 12 frames per second and it might crash every other time I turn it on, and people are like, that's playable. But no, this was like actually playable. It was just kind of annoying, and like it was unplayable for the first couple hours, because again, that's when the desync stuff was happening. But they like patched it the day after I was experiencing that, and then it didn't happen anymore. But I still would experience the flickering stuff. I say all that to say, it's coming to Switch 2. We already knew that, but people are angry because the cover or the eShop promotional art is censored, apparently, and people are mad.
Oh. Okay.
Which I think is ridiculous, because like, most people that I'm seeing being mad about it is like, they're mad because they're assuming that this is like some sort of thing that Nintendo forced ad hoc to do. But there's literal hentai games on Nintendo's platform. Nintendo, for the last 2 generations, notoriously is like one of the like most hands off in that regard. They're like, as long as your game works, you could put it on the eShop. They got hentai games all over the Nintendo Switch eShop. So I don't think that was a decision that they made. I would bet money that ad hoc is the one they made the decision to censor their cover art in this way. But that is a controversy currently right now.
It's, I mean, that's one of the things that it's a news story when it doesn't need to be a news story. It just needs to be a moment to like sit back and not have a knee-jerk reaction to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's not like they went through and censored forced you to turn on all the censor settings on Dispatch.
Yes. Which like, that would be a problem. That would be a different thing. But like the art on the cover of the like that being, I don't care. Like, in fact, I think it should be censored. I think a store page should be censored on a Nintendo platform where a child can be like, what the heck is this video game? You know, that should be censored.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like it's also good marketing. But like at the same time, you know, any press is good press in the eyes of any marketing team. So
yeah, that's not
whatever.
Asian. That's not Asian the best it's in 2025, but
no, it is not. It is really not. It seems like such a nothing story. I understand why someone might initially get angry, but I think if you stop and think, it's just kind of like, I shouldn't be mad at this.
Yeah. Yes. That's most gamer problems, though. It's like, does this actually matter?
It's the things that we need to get mad about are like early access games. Yes. And we should have been mad at early access games and shut that down early. And we should have shot down battle passes way earlier than we did.
Immediately.
Yeah. But enough of us went like, it's whatever, $15.
Exactly.
And then we're like, okay, well, here's where we live now, and this is the bed we made.
It's death by 1,000 cuts. It's because everybody's like, well, you know, it's early access, but it's like $5 cheaper if you get it now. That's cool, right? And it's like, no, absolutely not. Yeah. We're getting a Call of Duty game. We already knew that, but apparently it's close. It's within months. It's coming to Switch.
There you go.
So
I'm so excited to not play that.
I'm going to play it once at least for the reason I was talking about. I mean, do I? I don't have to, but I will.
I think you have to a little bit.
Dan, you don't.
Like a little bit.
Dan, you don't. Have you not? How long have you known me, Dan?
I've known you plenty long.
And we just had a conversation that I will go out of my way to ensure that the things that I want to do are the only things that I do if I can help it. and the reason why I want to play Call of Duty is the social experiment. Like, I don't really care about the game.
I just want to expose you to more of the world so you can
experience plenty of the world
anymore.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. I'll try most things once, and that's enough for me to understand that I don't like the thing. I have played games on PC for half of my life, and that was enough for me to know. That was enough of my life to understand that I hated it. And that's how most of how I engage with the world is. It's a response to things that I know. I don't just outright say, "No, I don't think I like that." It's I know intimately I will hate that, so I refuse. But I only played one Call of Duty game in my life. So this would be the second one. My friends have been wanting me to play it. So I'll try it. And there you go. It'll be a good day. Probably.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about Call of Duty is I still at times will have, you know, a gaming craving where you're just like, I need this type of game right now. I always want a game that has gunplay like Call of Duty does. And I can never really find something that feels like Destiny comes close, but I just don't want in a giant world. I just want to be able to, you know, do a first person shooter where it feels good to use the weapon. Mm-hmm. And Call of Duty just always kind of like does a really good job with that.
How different is Battlefield? Is Battlefield not close?
Battlefield's just it's slower. It's slower and more methodical, where I always felt like, not like it's much slower too, but you could definitely tell the difference if you go from Call of Duty to Battlefield. You'll feel the sense of it being a little slower and a little less run and gun. And sometimes I just want to run and gun. That's it.
That's fair. I'll play it. I'll report back if I like it or not. Obviously. Great. We got more third-party stuff. There's a bunch of third-party news. Most of it is third-party developers that I assume developed their entire game based off of a speculative spec that Nintendo sent them and not actually using a dev kit. And now they're like, actually, our game runs better now. Persona 3 Reload, that's getting an update it got an update that gives it a 60 frames per second mode when it's docked. So people and apparently they also fixed, there was like frame pacing issues in the video game. Apparently they fixed that. I, for one, refused. I played the demo of Persona 3 Reload on the Nintendo Switch 2 and I hated it.
It's not an AJ game. It's just simply not.
It's not at all. I spent 2 hours and I didn't even, the tutorial wasn't even done. That is a very anti-me game for sure.
Yeah. It's Persona has such a long like wind up before it actually starts going, and it's wild. I love 5, but like the first like 3 or 4 day like in-game days are just like, okay, yeah. Can I go fight the bad guys now, please?
And you know what? That's not even my main issue with it. Like, I think that it was just it was egregious that, like, in the tutorial, I barely experienced any tutorial. But even the stuff outside of that, like, if there was a possibility that I would enjoy Persona 3, it's all of the other stuff. It's not the combat. Like, I like Fire Emblem, and it's because everything but the combat. It's because the character writing is usually pretty fun, and that makes me care about the character. So when they die, I have a level of investment. I'm like, no, I don't want them to die. That's crazy. But Persona 3, it's like they don't even execute, in my experience, in the time that I spent playing the video game, they don't execute on all the ancillary stuff that makes me want to drudge through the combat. And the fact that I couldn't even get to the combat because of that stuff being as boring and dull and uninteresting and poorly paced as it was, is the reason, you know? So, like, even the stuff where it's like, yeah, it's not RPG, you gotta, like, balance your social life and like, going to school and, like, fighting the dead. None of those individual things are fun. So it makes me hate my time doing it.
Yeah, it's just simply not an AJ game. I can't, by all means, on paper, Persona 5 would be a game I shouldn't have enjoyed.
Mhm.
But I did. I was locked in. I loved it. But yeah, I get it. Persona is a hard series to want to jump into. And it's because of the pacing is slow.
It's slow in 5 too.
Yeah, in 5 it takes quite a few days before it really feels like the game kicks in. I will say 4 had decent pacing. Like it gets interesting like quicker, but 5 took a while.
I played seconds of 4 on my PS Vita. I had a PS Vita for a week. And then, I think I had a PS Vita for shorter than that. It was probably like, it was less than 72 hours. And then I took it to a movie theater. I took it with me, I had it with me when I went to go see a movie. And then I lost it, I assume in the theater. And then I was like, whatever. Like, I wasn't having fun with it. I was mostly just playing PSP games that I used to have, which was really just Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. That was it. Tag Force 3. I was literally all I played on my PlayStation Vita that I continued to play. But I tried PlayStation Persona 4 Golden on PlayStation Vita because of Podcast Beyond when Greg Miller was on it, and that's all they talked about was that video game. So I was like, I'll try it. And then I tried it and I was like, this is whack. And then never played it again. I was talking to Lee about, or I was just talking generally during Smash Tuesday, one of these weeks. And he was like, you got to try 5 because that's the one. Like, that's the one that's like more approachable. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to happen. So I don't know if I agree. But
I know you. And I know you will get like 3 days into like in-game days and you'll be like, this is whack, I'm done.
Yeah, that's probably right. We're also going to get an update planned for the Tomb Raider, or updates, it seems, for Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, which should have just worked in the first place. But again, it seems like they very quickly put together a port. They got a spec and they were like, okay, we'll develop to that. And then they actually got the hardware and it was like,
crap.
Didn't work the way that it was supposed to. And that's also true for Skyrim, which is funny because like,
that's weird.
Yes. This whole thing. No, I don't think you did. Have you ever interacted with Youth Hurt on Twitch?
No.
My friend Youth Hurt on Twitch. She's not a gamer, for context. I mean, she's a gamer now, but she's not historically a gamer. And it's like, I also saw this like TikTok, this lady that makes these TikToks that's like, for cozy gamers, like if you want to play real games, TM or whatever. And she's not like condescending in that way, but that's kind of what it is. It's like, if you want to play a real game, this is what you should play if you like cozy games. She's like that, where like she likes cozy games and she's like scared of combat, and like she played Breath of the Wild, but like she never got to finish Breath of the Wild because she doesn't like the combat. It stresses her out. She's playing Skyrim. And she's liking it though. She's liking it because you can like charisma your way out of stuff and whatnot. So it's funny how that lined up because that went on the original Switch version of it went on sale. So she got that during the Black Friday sale, I think. And then they ported it to Switch 2. And I was like, I thought about it for half a second, but then I thought about my Fallout trauma. And I was like, nope. So
my Fallout trauma.
I told this story so many times. Did you hear? You didn't hear this story? I'm surprised I didn't tell you this story.
I don't think this is one story you haven't told me. We don't need to do it on the podcast.
I'll tell you after because yes, I could tell you after. I was about to say no, I got to still be live after this, but that's not true because I got to wait to start Smash Tuesday for later when everybody else is ready at the regular time.
Well, I mean, I got to run back to my parents.
Yeah,
I gotta go be with the family.
Yeah, I understand.
But we will. I need to hear this.
It's not that long of a story. I just have already told everybody the story at least twice in the last like 2 weeks. But anyway, I say all that to say I thought about getting the Switch 2 version. No. The FOMO won't get me this time. I refuse. And then Ubisoft is doing things. They patched it. They patched Assassin's Creed Shadows. They sent me this game, full of disclosure. I played it when they sent it to me, and I was like, nope, because it crashed on me 4 times. The first time I turned it, the day that I turned it on, I was like, I refuse. I'll come back when they patched it. It's done. They did it. It's patched. So maybe I'll play the video game. And then the other thing from Ubisoft is apparently their VRR support's really good compared to most of the other applications of VRR on the Nintendo Switch 2, because it's like, I think the game needs to like at least run at 40 frames per second for VRR to work. But because of the way that the heavy DLS works, it's like if your game is 60 frames per second, the latency is too much for you to be able to effectively use DLSS. But their game is 30 frames per second, and it's obviously like if your game is lower frames and you drop frames, you need VRR more than if it was higher frames and all the other stuff, right? So they're like, well, that simply won't do. We need to make VRR work for our video game, even though it runs at 30 frames per second. And their solution apparently works really well. So now they're working closely with Nintendo, it seems, to improve VRR support more broadly for other people. Maybe that's just Ubisoft Studios and Nintendo. Maybe it's everybody. Who knows?
That'd be great. To be honest, that'd be great.
That'd be pretty cool. I would be down. But yeah, I mean, what I played of the Star Wars game is pretty good, and I'm also playing the other Prince of Persia video game. That's pretty fun, but obviously that's not like a super intensive video game. So. Right. Also, I think that's on the original Nintendo Switch. So,
yeah,
there's that. But yeah, that's everything. That's the news, man.
And that's the news.
We did it. We talked about all this stuff, and it wasn't as gloom and doom. We started heavy.
No, it started very doom and gloom, but like, I mean, most of it in the end is just like, hey, they fixed some games. So
they fixed this game. Now. They fixed that game. We're getting this game. Oh yeah, there was the other thing. Starfield's supposed to be coming sometime 2026.
Cool. Never played it. I heard it was okay.
Yeah, I heard that game is. At first, I heard it was okay, and then people started saying it was whack. And also, that's attached to my Fallout trauma, so I refuse either way. But hopefully people that want to experience the video game will do it. But that will probably be the first big third-party video game that, like, if it gets ported and it's supposed to be like which I think that's less of a thing right now. I think that we'll start to see it later, but it will be like branded as like a quote-unquote miracle port when it comes out, because it's a current gen video game. But I don't think we're actually going to see miracle ports on Switch 2 until like 3 years in. I think these Switch 2 ports are like fine.
Yeah, I can't imagine it happening too close. I think, maybe Ubisoft's, VER or VRR stuff helps kind of like move that stuff forward. But like, I don't know. Like, at this point in time,
the reason why I feel that way isn't even necessarily because the games that it's because games are less impressive. And they're not going to get more impressive based on the tea leaves. I think that people won't be able to afford rigs to be able to make games that much more impressive. And I think the Switch 2 is already good enough. And I think that most games that most people are playing are still supporting the prior generation. So if you can run on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, you could definitely run on Switch 2. And that's why I don't think we've really seen a miracle port yet. Like, if in all technicalities, like, I guess Outlaws and Shadows are technically that. Like, I think Outlaws is only current gen, right? That's not on Xbox.
No, Shadows is too.
Yeah, right. I was just saying, like,
just those two.
Yeah, those are like the games that are like not on previous gen, and like technically Final Fantasy VII, because Intergrade isn't on PlayStation 4.
But like Cyberpunk would have been close, but it would have been close if it was on like the Switch as opposed to the Switch 2.
Yes, exactly. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we'll get or need, I think it's probably a more accurate way to phrase what I'm trying to say. I don't think we'll need a game to be a miracle port anytime soon. So I think that, and the way that it will feel is like everything is a miracle port for a while, I think, because we're not used to seeing these games on Twitch too. Like, we're not used to seeing day and day. Like, Pragmata is coming out day and day. First Light is coming out day and day. Like, that hasn't been the norm for Nintendo in 2 decades. But it won't feel like when that happened on Switch. When Doom 2016, not 20, well, it came out in 2017 on Switch, but when it came to Switch, that was like, what? I don't think that we're gonna have that moment for a long time, if ever, on Switch 2.
No, I just don't think there's. I just don't think there's really a game that needs to be put onto the Nintendo Switch right now that requires that level of power. And most of the most like impressive games of this year probably would have ran on a Switch.
I mean, streets are saying that one of the most impressive games of this year is Assassin's Creed Shadow, and it is on the Switch too. So
yeah, so it's just kind of like, all right.
So yeah, that's kind of what it is. I think that's just what we're going to see. And the only way that we won't see that is if they stop supporting PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And I think that would be stupid in 2025 and 2026.
Well, yeah, especially not when we saw console sales drop by that amount.
Yes,
it would be crazy.
Console prices
to do something.
The skyrocketing, console sales plummeting, and RAM prices and other just computer parts in general increasing is dumb. Making a prestige piece, technological marvel in the current ecosystem, because most people are not going to be able to experience that video game.
Yeah, and I just see that the industry is more looking for something that looks and feels unique rather than graphical fidelity.
Yeah, but I think that's why. I think that's why, though.
Yeah,
I think they're reacting.
Yeah, I guess I'm speaking more from personal experience. Like I get more excited about a Silk Song and a Hades 2 than a 007
that's
Dying
fair.
Light. You know,
that's
or
fair.
That Dying Light, First Light.
Yeah,
what is it?
It is First Light.
I don't remember.
It is First Light.
First Light.
007 First Light. But yeah, now we're actually done. Now we actually got through all the stories. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Dan, watch his Doom video.
Watch my Doom video.
Goodbye.
Bye.